Happy New Year, everybody. This is Knives Monroe. How you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing well. I want to take this time to say if you've been following me, listening to me, paying attention to me, watching my videos, seeing me spaz out on the internet with all my insecurities and overwhelmingly hyper self-awareness, my idiosyncrasies, and my technical difficulties, everything. If you've been around since day one, if you just tuned in, thank you. We're approaching a new decade, and with a new decade, I like to change things up. And so this is the mission statement going into 2020, but also with this podcast. As of right now, and you'll never hear me say it, I never say this is Knives Monroe versus the podcast. I never really say it. I feel like you don't have to. What's going to happen with this podcast is my goal, my lofty, crazy, obscene goal is to make a podcast every single day. In order to really do that and for that to be sustainable, we got to change the format. So here's what we're going to do from here on out. We're not going to number any of these episodes. And from now on, they're going to have more of an album, from a song, from a CD, from a record sort of feel to it in terms of the track listing of the name of these episodes. So it'll be more poetic in that way, and it'll have anything that has classic interviews or classic chats with guests will be featuring said guest, right? So example, I did an episode with my daughter, and it was entitled "What is a Genius?" featuring Fiona Phoenix. And that's more so of the format for guest episodes, and those kind of interviewee, kind of classic podcast format is going to go like that. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to call those Indie Darling episodes. Indie Darlings is the name of the business that Claire and I own and operate. And we're going to start hearing a lot more about that in the upcoming days, weeks, months, and years. I'm going to go all in on that. I want to fill that bucket to its max. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink. So future episodes with guests, interviews, chats with other people outside of this solo podcast format are going to be called like Indie Darlings. And so there's that. I'm also going to do solo casts a lot more, and I want those to kind of be more sonically cinematic, if that makes sense. That's going to be more of you're going to have to experience that to know what I'm talking about. But I want them to be like audio vlogs, and they're going to be more like, music-based and sort of like a 3-act structure, kind of like a story. Those solo casts will go from anything from me reviewing a book that I read, or me doing some Q&As, things like that by myself, or me doing some sonic, tone poems, things like that. And so I just want to thank you guys for your patience. And here we are. I know it's Wednesday. It's a weird middle of the week situation to start the brand new year. But here we go, man. I'm ready to get back to work with my day job with HOH, Hiring Our Heroes. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, you can see my mug. Thank you so much, guys. If any of you, shout out to Mona, shout out to Liz, shout out to my HOH team. If you're watching this, hope you had a great holiday. I'm going to be back on the road with them. I think my first trip of the year is Miami, Florida, which I've never been. I've never been to Florida, so this will be the first time for that. If you follow my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, more of the visual social medias, my YouTube, I'm going to start doing some like road diaries, micro movies when it comes to that as well. So if you care about that sort of thing, if you want to see what it's like when I do my travels and all that, I'm going to be doing some more documentary style things from here on out. So subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't already. Thank you so much. I've had it for 12 years going on 13. And I'm still doing it. It kind of blows my mind. And it's grown, but I've grown and a lot more. So being able to track my My progress and my growth is absolutely insane. And tracking growth and progress is going to be something I demand for myself that I want to do every single day for the rest of the year. 2020, and I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way, has such a clean slate, starting fresh, tabula rasa, blank check sort of feel to it right now. And I'm high off of it. It may wear off come February 4th, some rando kind of once you get acclimated to things. But, I don't, I like filling up a blank page. I like creating podcasts every single day, making YouTube videos every single day. So this is really, really exciting to me. I spent last decade building my brain, honing my craft, trying to get better, transitioning from amateur to professional. And I think I've done that. And now like that sort of validation is set. It's there. I've done it. I can go home and feel okay about that. I don't have that chip on my shoulder anymore to prove to the people from my hometown that I could make it. I've done it. And it doesn't have to be such a mind fuck anymore. Thank goodness. And so now it's like, let's just start telling stories. Let's just start expressing ourselves. We're all going to die one day. You got to live like you can die tomorrow. And that's something I want to take very seriously. So I'll be charting my progress, my growth, my storytelling. I'll be telling people's stories in this indie darling sort of format. It's still Knives Monroe versus the podcast. And I said this on a previous podcast, and if I didn't get to mention it, I'll say it again. I may never be the greatest filmmaker of my generation, the best writer, the best videographer, the best cinematographer, editor, but I think I can go down as one of the greatest people to ever pick up a microphone in this podcast life, in this genre. And, I've made movies and I've spent tens of thousands of dollars into these fiction projects, but the feedback that I get from the podcast is so overwhelming. It's like, let's just go all in on that. It's natural to me. I love it, but I'm also very particular on the format, the style. I don't want to have to repeat myself, the the likes, and all these little bad habits. I want to eliminate that, become a better public speaker, take this podcast on the road, take it as high as it can go. I look at some of my favorite podcasters in the business, guys like Mark Maron, guys like Joe Rogan. And Mark Maron interviewed Barack Obama, the president, while he was president. Like, that's one of the greatest podcasts in history. Joe Rogan has interviewed Elon Musk. He's interviewed Edward Snowden, and has done incredible shows. And I love that stuff. It's so much fun. It's so cool. I love podcasts. I love producing them. I love making them. And I love interviewing guests and talking to people. And I also appreciate your feedback. I'm not just saying that because I want to, check off the boxes and like, subscribe, leave a comment. Like, I'm not doing that to check the boxes. I'm doing that because there are people that have been there for me and with me since day one, since I started this, and y'all are still there. You're still here. That inspires me. That means so much to me. It's got to mean something. So we're all on this journey together, and I want to tell all the stories that I can, and I want to make hundreds of films, not just one, fictional piece that you in the old school indie or Hollywood way. I want to be like, to me, these are micro movies, right? And I want to be able to do more of those. So look, I'm going to go around in circles again and again and again. I got a new podcast intro that's being produced by one of my best friends, Guillen, who's made some music for me in the past. And so I look forward to showing you guys that as well. Expect a format change. Expect a daily podcast. So I'll be going on iHeartRadio very soon, but where I like to float is SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I'm probably on all the things. I don't want to promote every single thing. You know where to find podcasts. But check me out on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check me out on Apple Podcasts. Leave me a review. It helps. I want to chart. I want to be one of the bests of my generation, but also of all time. I'm not lying. That's just the way I feel. There's going to be a lot of experimentation when it comes to kind of like the daily sort of journal aspect to that. So, maybe you listen to the one on a road trip that's a long one, or maybe you just catch up to the little 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute ones. However you want to listen and consume this, let me know. We're going to grow it and make it better together. Watching Jiro Dreams of Sushi on Netflix the other day, seeing how you just see one little sushi roll and all the passion and thought and perfection and 75 years of work and talent that went into that. It almost looks like that's it. Wait, that's it? But it's like minimalism is almost more effective. Less is more. And I want to do that with this podcast as well. I want to kind of perfect it, at least for me. And so you know what you're getting when you get it. You expect it every single time. It's quality. We're there and we're in it together. I am you and you are me, and we are all together. This is for my hungry creatives, people that have the ideas, the first that are to show up, the go-getters, the predators, the producer, editor, directors, the people who push their content, who push their brands, people that are on the come up, that are on the grind, and all those cliches, people that are following their dreams, that inspire others by connecting, people that create how-tos, passionate content creators, filmmakers, creators, whatever you want to call yourself. We're all in this together. We're all indie darlings at the end of the day. I'm no bigger or better than you in spite of whatever you may think. If you really know me, you know I ain't shit. But we're all in this together. And so this is my mission statement. I love you guys so much. Keep a force field around your heart. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.